we're back in the garage today. It's been quite a while. I've been busy doing quite a few other little bits and pieces really. I've been doing the Nissan. I've been doing quite a lot of body work on the Nissan. If you remember, I painted some wheels a few videos back, and they were purposely too big for the car, so I had to flare the arches out and all that. So I've been doing that for it seems like forever, but it's yeah, probably 3 or 4 weeks now, sort of weekends, but that's done. I've been messing around with the Suzuki here and there, doing little bits and pieces. But I have also been doing bits on the Hornet. So this is more of just more of a show and tell video really. There's not much making going on. I'm kind of struggling to I'm struggling to find interesting things on it. A lot of the stuff at the minute is just boring stuff, like I'm not overly interested at the best of times, but you know, so when I'm doing sort of boring stuff on the bike, yeah, you guys are gonna just, you know, fall to sleep. So but anyway, so let's yeah, it's more of a show and tell. I've got a few bits and pieces. We've got this, which we'll see what we're doing with maybe in a while. Yeah, I've got exhaust bits everywhere. I have to kind of started the exhaust, which is very cool. But yeah, so we'll have a look at all these little bits and pieces, and we'll do we'll do a Friday afternoon school kind of show and tell thing. Right, okay, let's have a little look what delights I've got on the bench. It's a bit, you know, we're in a bit of a 2 and 8 with it all, but there there you go. So we've got this, look. So this is the original. Let's move my pants out of the way. Nice. So we've got the original fuel cap there out of the Hornet. So I've obviously hacked this out of the tank, which was really fun. I ended up doing it with a pair of snips, because I didn't fancy cutting it out with a grinder, because there was still traces of fuel in it. So that would have been interesting. So yeah, that's why it looks a bit hacked out, but that's no bother. We don't need that. What we want is this, just this sort of. If I can get it in the right light, you'll see there's a tiny little bit of shape in there. So basically that's all I'm looking for. We're going to cut that neatly around there, and then we will graft it basically into that tank. So that will go very crudely, but that will go in on top of that tank, and we'll have a nice modern filler cap going into this. I'm not a fan of the old style filler caps. They're a bit too big and bulky for me. I even though we're kind of going for an oldish style, I want some nice sort of modern kind of touches on it. So yeah, so that's what we're doing with that monstrosity. That's what we're doing with the fuel tank. Obviously we've got some big dents here that need possibly a little bit more persuading actually, because we've now got the really yummy clip-ons on, which are really nice. But that I think the actual, possibly the bolt or the clip-on bracket just possibly touches that, or there isn't quite enough clearance. So we'll probably be massaging that slightly more, which is no problem. Yeah, so that's what we're going on with the tank. Obviously we've got a wee dent there, and this horrible badge holder bracket thing, which we're going to have to sort out. That's no real bother. But yeah, so I have got some sort of progress and newish bits on, new secondhand. So we've got the forks are in properly now. So I had a steering stem made from my very good mate Steve. He made the new stem for the forks. We've got ZX10R forks on the front. And we've got the ignition barrel, which used to sit here. So that's been cut off and shaved off. We're probably having very, very minimal lights and whatnot up there. If I can do away with, well, actually, if I didn't have to have any of them, I wouldn't, because I just don't like them. I have the calipers now, which look like they were found at the bottom of the ocean, or the sea for English people. But they're fine. They just want, they don't need a rebuild, but I will rebuild them. But I will strip them and blast them, and we'll paint them up nice. Might even just lose the Takiko, or however you say it. I might lose that. We'll see. Just sort of smooth it off. So I've got the brakes, but the next kind of big thing with the front end is the wheels. Let's have a look. You can't see the front wheel because it's behind there, but we have these very, very tasty wheels going on it. These are off of Ducati 999, and they're just lovely, and they are 100% going to finish the bike. You know, they're going to look amazing. But in order to do that, I need to sort out some discs. I need to find some discs, or possibly have some machining done, because we need to get the right offset for the calipers. So as of yet, I haven't really done any research to see if any discs will kind of bolt up. So yeah, that's kind of that might be a little tricky area. You know, everything will be new, of course, new brake lines and fittings. I'm not overly keen on these levers, so we'll sort some more levers out. Everything will be refreshed and whatnot, and we'll get rid of this dodgy little chap there. Is it the Grim Reaper? Well, I think we'll take him off. Bins at last brakes. Yeah. So we'll refresh everything and whatnot. So that's kind of what's going on with the front end. We've seen the tank. Engine wise, that will be stripped to a certain extent. I'm not going to open it up fully. I believe there's no reason to open up an engine if there's nothing really wrong with it. So that will just get painted, detailed, new bolts, blah, blah, blah. We've got our radiator, cowling that we made. Again, if you've not seen it, go back, and there's a few videos on making the plug and the mold and the actual part. So we've got those that are done. Obviously, radiator looks like let's keep it clean. Poop. But we'll see. It might come up. If not, we'll source another radiator. That's no problem. So we've got that. We've got our belly pan down here. So that is an original. It's not original. The Hornets never came with that. It's an aftermarket fiberglass belly pan, but it actually ends here. So it kind of comes down and along. So as you can see, we've got this new half which extends quite aggressively towards the rear. and it's got quite a nice sort of rake there, which we are trying to follow the, we're trying to get some kind of line comparison. Excuse me, got the hiccups. And but yeah, so we've got the belly pan look, which I think looks fantastic. What I actually have a problem is firstly the bike has no cradle frame kind of, the frame doesn't come round and cradle the engine. It stops under here. So with that in mind, we are trying to build some sort of calf kind of inspired bike. So to hide this fact, I do like a belly pan, but more for me it's more to fill in this void in the rear, sort of from this part back. I don't like to see it open, so I usually, I'll either try and do some sort of belly pan or some kind of sort of covers that kind of close in the rear. For me, it makes it look a little bit more racy and brings it lower to the floor. So yeah, we've got the belly pan. Obviously, we've got a lot of work to do. There's a theme in here. We've got a lot of half-finished bits and pieces, and still a lot to do. But there you go. We have, what else we got? We've got our airbox, which is half done in carbon. I've got the other side to do, and let's have a look. That was the airbox there that we made, and we skinned this over the outside, and this is just done in a matte lacquer. It looks a little bit mottly, but it's not, it's just dirty. Bearing in mind the bike is dirty and we have horrible nuts and bolts all over it, but it will be all nice and refreshed. But yeah, so we've got the airbox partly done. We've got our under tray, which is yet again partly done. But the problem is when you're building something, you kind of need to get these parts in because they all need to kind of work together and flow together. You need the airbox in to make the rear under tray, because obviously these lines need to be somewhere near. I mean, at the minute it's just lodged in and it's all over the shop, but they need to be. You need one part before you can kind of continue on to the next part. So that's kind of why everything's half finished really. I just basically need the main outline of what I'm doing. So but yeah, so we've got that, and then we go up to our seat. We've got our seat unit, which I do sell. I must just mention that. Little plug there. There's the seat unit, and if you remember, again, we made the side pods for this, and the reason the side pods were made is just to bring it into the tank there. You see, just to flow it into the tank, whereas originally these seats come straight down there, and it just wasn't quite flowing. And also the bike's quite wide, the tank's wide. We've got a nice wide rear tyre and swing arm, so the seat for me just wanted a little bit more, going on with it. We've got our little, pretend winglets maybe. Not sure whether we are going to 100% use them. I probably will, because it's, it's quite, it's different. And again, once they're in carbon, we've got one in carbon there, you can't see. Once they're in carbon, they'll probably look quite trick. So we've got them. rear sets. Have the rear sets. These are off of they're for a GSXR. They don't really do a very nice rear set for the Hornet. They do a set, but they're very, very, very fussy. And these are kind of a little bit mid fussiness, if you know what I mean. So we've got the rear sets on. Obviously, we've got our lovely bracket there, which is going to hold it on perfectly well. I think that's pallet wood that we'll be using for that. Obviously we won't. That's kind of my pattern to make we've got our alley there for our brackets, some nice chunky alley for our rear set brackets. Yeah, so that's kind of the rear set part of it done. Yeah, so the rear set, the original rear sets bolt here and here, where that bolt is going through. So that bracket will bolt to the original frame mounts there and down there, and then our rear set will go through this frame mount, and then it will mount lower down through this bracket. So yeah, we're all kind of set on the rear sets as well. The latest thing I've been doing, which has been really, really long-winded actually, is making the exhaust. So I've decided to go with this kind of upswept kind of look, just to give it a little bit more of a racy look. You can't really see too much down there. Can't really see a lot. I am learning. I do have a TIG welder, and I am learning, and I am by no means an expert at all. So I've got a lot to learn on this, but I'm just tacking things together with it. But what it is doing, it's enabling me to be able to do things at home rather than taping a few bits of pipe together and then going to work and using the MIG and just tacking it with the MIG. So yeah, really, really pleased with the fact that I can now do TIG. I just need to learn it a bit more. So but whatever we do, I may end up taking it to Steve to get it welded up probably, but it is enabling me to actually continue to make things, so that's cool. So please don't be shouting too much saying, oh, that's rubbish. I know it's rubbish, but it will be sorted. But yeah, so we've got an exhaust going on there. Look, let's see if we can get a kind of shot. I've put the camera on like a 0.5 setting to try and, I don't know if that means anything, but it's to try and get the full bike in, so the bike actually looks a bit odd, but but let's try a different setting. Right, there we go. Look, I am under my bench again now to try and get oh, that's my hand, that's my shoulder, to try and get a bit more of the bike in. But you can see there that I've tried to get the exhaust to kind of sort of run at the same angle as the back of the seat unit. So we're pretty good there. So yeah, the exhaust is well, you can see what it is. Look, it's a KO Lightning exhaust. This was off of eBay. I think it was about, I don't know, 50, 60 quid, something like that. And I've got to say, the quality is pretty nice on it. What I don't want to do is go out and buy you can spend between 300 and 700 quid on one of these little stubby end cans. What I don't want to do is go and spend a huge amount of money and then realise, like this one, that I have to cut the end off because it's not fitting over the exhaust diameter that I'm using, you know, things like that. So so this came yesterday, and I've got to say I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm going to probably make a small inner baffle because it's very open. It's basically, do you know what? It looks pretty much identical to the SC project exhaust that was on my Aprilia, and I can tell you what, they're about 700-800 quid. So, but I'm pretty happy with that. What I am going to do is when the exhaust is done, I will blast it, and I will blast that as well, and then brush it, and then Scotch-Brite it round with a Scotch-Brite so it's all uniform. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, I'm pretty pleased with that. So that was a reasonably good buy. And later on, what, you know, once I've figured it all out, I may well then turn to a more expensive can, but we'll see. You know, it's hopefully it you know, it'll sound all right. But yeah, so we've got the exhaust going on. Rear swinging arm, yet again something else that isn't finished, but I've done the majority of the sort of trimming work. So this is just a brace off of another swinging arm, and it was basically cut off of the swinging arm through the welds. Yeah, so we're just basically going to re-weld it onto this swinging arm. And it just makes such a difference to the bike, having the brace in. It just opens it up massively. There you go. Oh, I didn't realise you could do that while you were filming. There you go. Every day's a school day. So yeah, the brace is pretty much sort of cleaned up, ready to go on. Obviously, we need to, you know, get the anodized off and all that malarkey. But yeah, so we've got the swing arm brace to sort out as well. So we have still got a billion things to sort out on this thing. Well, we've got a caliper look. So we've got a rear caliper, which is probably going to sit under there somehow. Obviously not on this wheel or this disc, because we've got the beautiful Ducati wheels going on it. So yeah, so we've got the bracket to make for the caliper. The exhaust is all mounted down there, whether you can see that. There is a mount that comes off the frame, and then there's a mount that I've made actually using the original mount off the exhaust. So that is re-welded back onto the new exhaust, and that's all mounted down there. So it's actually got two mounts under here, which are going to be nice and strong, because I don't want any mounts up here. So that's quite nice. That's sorted. But yeah, so we are getting little bits and pieces done. So yeah, so we've got the battery tray. Like I say, this is not finished at all. When this is finished, this will actually be a box which the battery will sit into, and this will then bolt to the frame. It'll bolt there and there, and then underneath we're gonna pop a couple of holes in there, and then we'll bolt it underneath the bottom of the frame as well. So that'll be nicely solid, but that will be going in under there. We'll have a little bit of heat management going on there, just to keep it shielded away from the exhaust a little bit. So yeah, we've got we've got lots of things going on. I'll tell you what, I'll just show you the rear subframe as well. Okay, so we've got the rear subframe under here. That is pretty much, it's reasonably simple actually, but very strong. Once we've got this top area, this is probably going to be, we'll have probably a plate. Let me see. Obviously not this one, but you can see once that is on top and we're kind of bolted down there, that is going to make that all pucker and solid. If you could see down there, we've got 1, 2 at the bottom, and then right up the top under there, 3. We've got 3 mounting points, so that's actually going to be a removable rear subframe. So that's going to be super strong. I've still got some work to do yet again on the rear of this, because we need a number plate bracket coming off of there. So somehow we're gonna come off of the back of here with, again, it'll be removable, but we're gonna have some kind of number plate bracket kind of coming from here at this sort of angle, and then we'll have our plate sort of there, the dreaded number plate that nobody wants or likes. But yeah, so yeah, we've got the rear number plate bracket to come off of here. Obviously we're going to have a nice new shock. You know, everything will be basically the same standard as the BM. Oh, the BM has gone. It's it's sold. So yeah, look, we have a slightly empty garage. Suzuki's still there. Let me just show you that really quickly, because I did do a video on painting it, the framework, but this old girl, she looks absolutely gorgeous now. Come on, Mr. Wayne, let's get this off. Yeah, the Suzuki looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. Let's stick it on there. Let's put it on the other picture thing. Look. Whoa, look at that. How pretty does that look? I am over the moon with this. The only thing I've got really left to do is build the front calipers. And then that's probably MOTable then once that's done. But yeah, I mean, look at her, she looks absolutely stunning. And what makes it even cooler in my eyes is it's got no lights, so it's basically race bike replica. But yeah, so we've got our lovely little GSXR 750 there. Look, again, you know, nice little details here and there. This is not as, you know, detailed as the other bits and pieces. This is my own kind of toy that I just like to look at and whatnot, really. But yeah, I've done all the calipers on this, and we stuck the stickers on here and there. We painted all the fairing and bodywork, and yeah, again, everything's been refreshed, but we haven't gone to the extent of every single nut and bolt on this thing. But my golly, she looks like a right stunner. Oh yeah, so there we go, really. God, I've just kind of gone round this and realised that actually I'm nowhere near finished. Everything's half done. Nothing's actually fully finished on it. Everything's just like a little bit here and a little bit there, but that's how it goes. You kind of spend weeks and months doing all this, and then all of a sudden it all comes together really quickly. But yeah, we're making progress. So but yeah, I'm sorry for being a bit rubbish with the videos. You know, it's it doesn't come naturally to me. It's not the easiest thing to do when you're used to just ploughing into things. Half of the time I just forget to pick the camera up. I'm so used to ploughing into something, just getting your head down and doing it, and then I've done it and I forgot to record it. But yes, not much of a making video, more of a show and tell video. So hope you've kind of enjoyed the little insight into the old what should we call it, the angry hornet. But yeah, it's slowly getting there. But yeah, also please don't be screaming at the telly or whatever you're watching it on, going, oh, you've not done that, you've missed that, that's not right. Everything's just half done. It'll be fine. It'll be perfect. It'll be lovely. It'll be lovely jubbly. So yeah, it's all good, all good. But anyway, yeah, it's Sunday. The sun has just started to come out. So I think I'm gonna maybe I think I'm gonna go and sit in the garden for a while and do a bit more looking and thinking. Right, cheers guys. We'll see you soon.